We'll begin with Gita Dhyanam. Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamrita Duhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Hari Om. All right, a warm welcome back to everyone. We are seeing chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, and we have spent a few classes on introduction to what is going on here. Last week we spent time reflecting on those most two powerful words in Bhagavan's opening batting in the chapter, responding to Arjuna's weakness. Tyakto tishta bharantapa, O scorcher of enemies, Arjuna, O Arjuna, who like us has a divine lion inside, shrouded in the overwhelming rabbit-like fear. So we are a lion, like a hero inside, acting like a shivering rabbit, bunny rabbit. Arjuna, cast off that weakness. Stand up and roar, fight, do your duty. Understand your role in the bigger picture and play it well. This is what Lord Krishna has to say to Arjuna. Uttishta, Jagrata, Varan Prapya, Varan Nibodhata is the phrase from the Upanishads. The same idea. Lord Krishna has to begin by shouting at Arjuna, the verses 2 and 3 of Bhagavad Gita, which we saw, because Arjuna was in a delusional state. Though his friend, and though they have so much love for one another, if you just read these two lines alone, you will not see that on the surface. Because Lord Bhagavan Shri Krishna is looking at the situation in front of him as it is, and in front of him is an individual who has become, whose narrowness of vision has now come to the fore, and he is about to make a mistake, and he is totally delusional about what is going on in life, and he's at the precipice of such a tragedy. At that point, you cannot say, "Oh, my dear friend, come take a seat. This is not the time to think like this." That's not going to work. So, Bhagavan Shri Krishna gives the equivalent of a defibrillator shock for cardiac arrest in these two verses. An electrifying experience to Arjuna, to shake him out of that weakness, which is required of all of us and happens all the time. Sometimes I was mentioning, you'll see in a movie, a mother has to give a good slap to the child who starts feeling too big for their bitches and skipping their homework and, but don't tell that to me, I won the soccer trophy. Because they get delusional. And that sort of thing happens all the time. Now, how that applies to us. First of all, we also have to judge the situation correctly and deal with everybody as we meet them. That is the first thing. Thinking real. And I heard a nice thing that Mahatma Gandhi ji said. What is that? I'm not trying to be consistent with what I have said and done in the past. I'm only responding to the situation as I see it now. So that actually requires a tremendous amount of objectivity in our very approach to the situation, in our very reading of the situation before we even respond. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna is demonstrating the opposite of Arjuna. And this phrase is inspirational. People put inspirational phrases all the time, on bumper stickers or on t-shirts, "Just do it," or whatever, right? But there is no better phrase than "just do it" is kind of close, and it became so popular. It's kind of close to this. Uttishta jagrata. Tyakto uttishta. Instead of "just do it," cast off and stand up and do it. So that phrase is so powerful, and it means to say for all of us, we don't have a literal war to fight in front of us. We don't have to go and spill the blood of our gurus and family members in order to continue dharma, right? What do we have to do? We have to make ourselves an embodiment of dharma, a fit vessel for dharma. That's what that's a project we're all on, right? So cast off those things that are in the way and stand up to that challenge. Then only we will be able to help the world. Because dharma is the medicine for the ails of the world. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is speaking over the shoulders of Arjuna to all of us that, "Oh human being, oh insert your name here." And it is not me saying so. Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya writes in his Bhashya, his commentary, just now he will say it after verse 11, that Bhagavan Shri Krishna is using Arjuna as an instrument, nimitti kritya, to give this Gita to all of us. So the saints and sages say it very clearly. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is telling all of us, "Oh human beings that are to come in 2025, 2026, please understand, it does not behove you to waver from your dharma. You're not designed for that." Like that. Na tvai upapadyate. It is not befitting in you to have this low weakness of heart. Kshudram hridaya daurapalyam. Cast it off and rise up to be someone who can perpetuate, effect dharma in the world. in that we will have to cast off a lot of misunderstanding. So that is another thing we have to cast off in order to stand up to be good vessels of dharma. We have to cast off all our wrong convictions also in order to stand up. We have been victimized by life's situations. All of us in some way, shape, or form are a victim of capitalism, a victim of, they have that shopping channel, right, or Amazon Prime, a victim of Christmas sales, a victim of too much eating, a victim of something, all of us. And the rule is that though we did get overpowered by some oppressor, it requires, in order for that to happen, we need a correlating weakness in our heart. An oppressor cannot really overpower us unless we have a correlating weakness. So in our own heart, we have to cast off those weaknesses. I may have disobeyed my conscience and thereby got overpowered. So that disobeying or turning a blind eye to my own conscience is some tamas I have, darkness I have invited in my personality. So cast off that tamas. I might have cast out pride in dharma. Cast it out into the dark of the night and put a spotlight on pride in something else, something more shallow. So I have to cast off that darkness, bring pride into what really deserves our identification and pride. Sometimes I enjoy and shroud my mind in ignorance. I choose shallow, narrow thinking. I don't give the other the benefit of the doubt. So shrouding my mind in the darkness of ignorance, I become stuck. Cast off that ignorance, pay attention and close awareness to those areas of my life that I have been avoiding, and stand up. So cast off the tamas however it comes up in our life. So to be able to identify all the different forms of tamas, darkness, ignorance, turning a blind eye, lack of integration that we introduce into our life is very much required in that tyaktva. You have to identify it and drop it. That is also very much includes inferiority complexes. If you have a vein of perfectionism, then go out and don't give yourself a chance. Go out and do it imperfectly. Cast off that fear and stand up to be a member of the team of dharma. Like that. So this is the thrust of what has been told to Arjuna, and with some very sharp words, don't become a eunuch, Arjuna, which is very difficult for a warrior to hear. So Lord Krishna has dismissed all of Arjuna's arguments of the first chapter in verse 2 and 3, his statements of verse 2 and 3. This is not going to be recognized as anything great. You will not get fame, you'll get infamy, akirtikara. This is not going to take you to any great goal or any great life hereafter. It's not taking you to Svarga. This is not punya, Arjuna. And you think this is how great people behaved? That maybe other people don't see it, but you see some great behavior. None of the kings that have ever lived before you have behaved like this. This is not preferred behavior by great warriors. Anaryadrushtam, Arjuna. You have lost sight of the bigger picture. Because of Bhishma and Drona on the other side, who you yourself call as Swajanam, my own people. Like that. And therefore some meanness of heart has come into you for everybody else. You would like to sacrifice the whole world for these two. Now, that is Arjuna, but it applies to us. The issue of that, the effects that attachment to me and mine have on our mind is being demonstrated for us by Arjuna. So we don't have to go through it. But this is going to be the effect of all my clinging attachment to me and mine, my comforts, my people, my situation, my whatever is within the gambit of that word mine. When that takes precedence over dharma, the world has ample opportunities to bring us to our knees. And it doesn't matter how much we would have accomplished. When minus takes precedence to dharma, what will happen to us is what is happening to Arjuna. A situation where we cannot see anything but us living a future life of sorrow. It might be good for us also, and we don't want it. And like that, we make mistakes. And then after we learn, we suffer. We suffer twice. We suffer the first heartbreak of losing the thing that life put in front of us. This is my thing, and it got taken away. Then I make an action in error in response to that. So my heart broke the first time. Then when I realized I made a mistake and I was looking at the situation wrong, but the action has already been made and I have to live through the effects of it, then that's another suffering. So to avoid being totally pummeled and crushed by this normal situation, the Gita has come. But in order for this Gita to start, Arjuna has to speak one more time. So in this next few verses, what happens is, like all people, when you're trying to explain your point and you've given every sort of way of saying it, and the person is telling you something, and they're, from your point of view, they're not understanding you. Lord Krishna understands Arjuna exactly. But Arjuna's thinking, when you've exhausted every form of explanation, what do people do? Do they become quiet? No, they go on repeating now. In other words, the same thing. So Arjuna, but the shock has effect. So we'll see what happens here. In verse 4, Arjuna uvacha. Atha Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Katham Bhishmam Masam Sankhye Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishubhi Pratiyotsami Pujarha Varisudana Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Krishna Kanhaya Lal Ki Jai. Hey Madhusudana, hey Arisudana. Arjuna uses two names. He calls out to Lord Krishna. You, O Bhagavan, who killed the Asura Madhu, and you killed the enemy Sudana. Two names he gives. You killed one Rakshasa, you killed another Rakshasa. You do that only, you remove Rakshasas. But Katham Aham Sankhye, how am I in battle? Pratiyotsyami, how will I fight, retaliate? With who? Dronam and Bhishmam. With my guru and my most respected Bhishma Pitamaha. How will I fight with them? Pujarha. How? They are both worthy of worship. They're not asuras. There's a difference, Bhagavan. You don't see any difference, Bhagavan? Between Madhu, that Rakshasa, this Rakshasa, and Bhishma? I understand you want to remove Rakshasas, but how will I fight with them? They deserve flowers. I should throw flowers at their feet And Ishubihi, I will shoot arrows instead. How will I should fight with them with arrows like that? So it's like Arjuna has tears in his eyes. Huh? They are not my enemies. They're Swajanam, they're my people. Bhagavan, there's a difference. Like that, he is telling. And we can sympathize with Arjuna very much. With tears in our eyes. How will I give up my staying up late? It's not my enemy. It is my me time. It is my friend. Huh? How will I give up my money? I cannot share this with anybody. This is my security. I understand taxes and this, that, but that's for big people to pay. This is my security. Whatever minus is there, right? And we can also sympathize because in our tradition, Sanatana Dharma, there is no end to the amount of reverence and respect that is given to your teacher. From the smallest things, we never point our toes at our teacher. In front of your guru, you don't say even. You wait and you listen. You remain open as a receptacle. I've been trained like this my whole life. And truly, when it comes time to fight, Arjuna goes in front and asks for blessings to have the ability to defeat. So this is not a word, just throwing words. This really is Arjuna's attitude towards his teacher. Bhagavan could not have orchestrated a better, let me get the sound corrected here. I see that's an issue. Could not have orchestrated a more stark example of how dharma supersedes all. In this example, on a battlefield where there is kingdom at stake, there are family members on each side, it is life and death situation, still one must keep in mind dharma. So then, like that now, Arjuna continues his dissertation for one more verse, telling Bhagavan, I don't think fighting this war is a noble thing. I don't think it's a good. According to me, what does he say? Oh, Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaikshyamapi haloke hatvartha kamamstu guru nihaiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. There, in verse 5, Arjuna says, I think better than fighting, Shreyaha bhaikshyam bhoktum api iha loke. I think it is better for me to just go and eat any food I find or I get by begging. Maybe I should go take sannyas and just go beg for food. And if nobody gives me sannyas, I'll just go live in the forest. I mean, I lived in the forest for so many years. That seems better than fighting this war and being part of all this bloodshed. This also happens. This same sort of idea comes out in people's minds all the time after a big fight with their spouse or a big fight in the family. Then what? I want to leave this place. I want to leave this city. I want to start over again. I don't want to see these people. I'd like to go live in an ashram somewhere. I'd like to join a brahmachari course and run away. What? Not just big people. I have on my phone a video of a little baby cousin of mine looking at her mom straight in the eyes and saying, I'm leaving today. I'm going by my nanny who lives just down a few apartments down. You don't treat me fine. And she has a what looks like a pillowcase in her hand. She's filled it with some stuffed toy and she's gone. She's leaving now because this situation has become too difficult. Run away and make it look like it's the other person's fault and the situation is bad and there's nothing I can do. This way, I don't have to face loss of my. Even if they fight and lose, Arjuna will feel, well, I did not See, he tells in the next line there, right? Bunjiya Bogan. See, I will enjoy bhogan, pleasures, rudhira pradigdhan, which are better than staying, winning if we win. I will have all this kingdom and pleasures, and they'll all be stained with the blood of my guru and Drona and all the elders here and all the people. He was appreciating on both sides all the death that will be there. Hmm? So, which is better? Arjuna is looking into his future, calculating his own sorrow, with a very narrow-minded vision like that. He has reduced a cosmic event going on the world stage in which he is a fulcrum and center point. He has reduced that to just between, well, there's me and my people and what I'm going to experience after this, and that's it. And with that vision, he cannot see what he will really experience and what he will really get. He doesn't understand what is actually good for Drona and Bhishma. He thinks Drona and Bhishma would rather stay at home, sit on the couch, and tell stories with Arjuna. Or they would rather fight on that battlefield and die like warriors. He doesn't see that. He's only not even thinking about their welfare, really. He's just thinking about his own welfare after. In other words, us, like Arjuna, regularly discount, forget, don't appreciate, whatever word you want to say, we lose sight of, become totally oblivious to our role in time and place in this big cosmos. Materialism and capitalism and moreism of life makes us also totally oblivious that actually we exist in a big cosmos. We are part and parcel of that cosmos, and we have a great role to play. Every time we send our mind out we unplug our mind from our thought about our place in the universe, and we thereby unplug our meaning and satisfaction and enthusiasm from something great and higher and which will transcend any difficulty. And we send it out now. We send that mind and we try and plug into the world to draw some satisfaction from the world. And we do that. And we start thinking, I wonder what is going on over there in that country. I don't live in America, but I want to know America has done that and they're going to do this other thing and what will happen. And take up my mind. What is my neighbor doing? Will they shovel my snows? This neighbor has 5 mangoes on my side. Will they give it to me, or do they belong to me? Or my mind is thinking about my little neighborhood, or send it out away from my role in things. When we do that, we are exhibiting the same Arjuna disease. Not to be oblivious or lose sight of our greater role in the world, the cosmos, in the community, in the family, is the warning here. If we do, then we would run away from the battle that the nature has brought to us. And that will always be a mistake. That's always a mistake. And if you cannot envision it, then we picture back Arjuna. What if Arjuna ran away from the battle? Yes, it was going to be difficult for him. But what would happen? We would not have Bhagavad Gita, first of all. And you just go back and look at verse 2 and 3. Bhagavan says, we just recapped that. Nobody would look at Arjuna well. To help in this, you can do types of visualizations. Simple things. Here I'm doing this action. If I keep this up in 10 years, what would my life be like? And if I just gave it up, I make a little change, I give up this action. In 10 years, what would my life be like? That will give you an idea into your place in the cosmos and how things can work and change and develop. What we're doing matters. As we effectuate dharma. Arjuna is wondering, Bhagavan, how do you not see this? I mean, when I look at the world, it's so obvious. When I look at this battle, it's so obvious that I'm going to suffer. And when you look at the battle, you see something else. We're standing side by side, looking at the same war, the same destruction, and I don't understand what you are seeing. Hmm? So he goes on, he says one more thing now, and he reveals another thought lurking, another anxiety lurking behind his mind. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Nachaitattvit Makatarono Naha. Again. Nachaitattvit Makatarono Naha. Giriyo Yatva. Oh, this is the wrong tune for the wrong meter. Nachai nachai tadvitma kataran nachai tadvitma kataran no gariya yadva jayema yadiva no jayeyuh yaneva hatva chijivishamah devasthita pramukhe dhartarashtraha. So he adds now. Moreover, Arjuna, Bhagavan, we do not know, we do not understand something. Nacha tad vidmaha. Suddenly, not I don't understand. Huh? He's now including Bhagavan. We don't understand. We don't know something, Bhagavan. What is that? Kataran no gariyaha. If it is better, gariyaha. We don't know for us what is the right thing to do. What is better for us? Yadva, whether Jayema, I should conquer, Yadiva, or whether Jayeyuhu Naha, they should conquer us. Hmm? I don't know if it can put it both ways. I don't know if I will win or they will win. I don't know if we should let them beat us, or I don't know if we should defeat them like that. I don't know which is better. Read that again. You don't know whether you want to die on the battlefield or you want to kill them on the battlefield. You can't tell which is better. Hmm? It is true that the outcome of war is very uncertain. And he's saying it could go either way here. In all situations where we get confused, there will be two options in front of us. Huh? Arjuna is looking, well, I don't understand between either option which is better for me. Win or lose. Die or survive. Because, he adds now, Yaneva hatva najijivishamaha. Having killed those people indeed, najijivishamaha, we do not even want to live. Who are those people? Those people who avastha pramukhe dhartarashtra. Those allies of Dhritarashtra who are standing here in front of us. I don't know whether it is better to die on the battlefield, let them beat us, or to defeat them. Because if we live and they die, we won't want to live. So this is actually, he has gone so far as being willing to give up his own life for his future sorrow. And this is very characteristic of all of us human beings. We only care about one thing, far and away above our own life. And that is what? Removing our sorrow. And if our method to do that is narrow, And we face a world which operates on broad principles that include all beings. And in that, we're trying to navigate with a very little compass. Then we run up against the world all the time. The universe, the earth has north as its magnetic pole. And when we look at our compass, we have my as our magnetic pole. And then we are trying to navigate in the world. And why is the world coming up against me? And it gets so far as to be like, I don't know if I'd rather live even like that. This is what happens to our mind when there are sources of attachment. That is what is being demonstrated by Arjuna. And from the smallest situation and most ordinary situation to the biggest situation, it is this only. This colors all of our actions. The mother who has ice cream in the freezer, one last cone in the freezer, waits for the neighbor's child to go home before opening it and giving it to her child. Correct? She doesn't think which child better deserves the ice cream. The police officer who stops his brother on the road for speeding, he is forced by his supervisor, who's standing right there to deliver the ticket. When he goes home, what is he worried about? Well, what will they say when we meet for family dinner on this weekend? He will never return my tools now. Oh boy. Well, he might be thinking so many things, correct? But and I heard our Buddha Swami Prakashanandaji say this, if he was that police officer and he pulled over his own family brother, he would give twice the ticket. The reason being means you know your brother is a Swamiji and you're speeding, you deserve twice the ticket. See, that is a total comfort with giving up my concern for small things for the sake of dharma. If we are not ready to do that, then we're not ready for spiritual life. And so how to do it, how to approach it, how to love that, how to enjoy dharma, and thereby actually all our loved ones will benefit more. That is what is going to be taught here to Arjuna. But first he has to come out of this delusion enough to listen. That will be happening shortly. So Bhagavan cannot, in response to such a mind, with such narrowness of vision, it is not enough for Bhagavan Shri Krishna to say, fight. It's not enough for the supervisor to stand there and say, give the ticket, follow dharma. Because when he goes home, his mind turns. The problem is something deeper in his vision, like that. So recap now all the different emotions that Arjuna went through. He saw the magnitude of war and he felt pity for all the death and destruction. He looked at it with the vision of minus and he got confused. I'm fighting with my own people. I'm seeing death of my own people on both sides also. I'm confused about if this is even worth it, if this is right, why we're doing this, my role in this. Then that confusion now creates doubt. And he has expressed it right here. I don't know whether I should win, lose, die, not die, run, don't run. And if everything wanted to run, Bhavan, you're here as my charioteer and you're shocking me, telling me it is not right to run. So he was also overcome in all of this with anxiety, facing the situation, nervousness. Gandiva sramsate hasta. Symbolically, while his weapon slipped from his hand, so did all his vitality and energy and ability and swabhav, it all just slipped right out of him. But he says also, well, he'll say it again now, just now. that this sorrow has dried him up totally. And in this verse, he also shows a bit of fear about, he doesn't know if he will win in the other reading. So all these things have come down on his mind on seeing the situation in front of us. And fear of failure, which has been exhibited here. I don't know if we will win. That is not a small thing on the human mind. For the average human mind, fear of failure, fear of looking bad, fear of looking like I don't know, man, that has caused human beings to make mistake after mistake after mistake. What helped me so much is when I heard in satsang a truism about not knowing. What is that truism? See, in academics, the more and more a person knows, the smaller and smaller is their scope of knowledge, right? So, somebody who has a bachelor's in science, well, he knows about some field, a bachelor's in science, and he majored in physics or something, right? But by the time he gets his master's, he doesn't study all of physics. He just studies a branch of physics. Then if he gets his PhD, he just studies one formula in that branch of physics. So if you ask him about physics of some other branch, he doesn't know anything about it. So the rule is that an expert is one who knows more and more about less and less. And who is an absolute expert? Someone who knows everything about nothing. But there's a great wisdom in that. If we make the list of everything we know, and we make the list of everything we don't know, which list will be longer? The list we know, we could actually fill that out on a page. If you can fill a whole page, well, that's great. Because everything on that page also, if you go into it, you realize, well, I don't really know that much about it. I know how to make macaroni pie, but don't ask me what the science of what temperature cheese melts and what temperature cheese burns. I just know when I do this and I turn it to that and I leave it, then I get nice macaroni pie or whatever, right? Okay. So even that list of things we know, we don't know so well. So admitting that I don't know is actually admitting a truth about myself. It is coming back to objectivity. And like that, you can study like I don't know, and you can study I will fail, and you can study I will look bad, and everything else related to failure, and realize it's not that bad. It's great, actually. It is true. And it launches me into something more. Only when we say I don't know can we then ask a question, correct? So I don't know is the first statement that you have to make to learn anything. And the fact is we don't know anything by that previous example. And even if you have a PhD, well, that's proof you don't know anything. Right. So Arjuna doesn't know if he will win. And that does not prompt him to grow in that fear. That prompts him to shirk in that fear. But something happens now. What is that? Let us chant this next most famous verse. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Karvanyadoshopahatah svabhav prechamita Dharma sampurachetaha. No, it's the same. Meter is different again. Karpanya doshopat Karpanya doshopahatas svabhavaha Pritchami tvam dharma sammurhachetaha Yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Right. Trishtup chanda. So, Bhagavan shock now bears its fruit. Arjuna is thinking in his mind, this is not going anywhere. Lord Krishna does not agree with me. What I'm saying is not aligning with the way the Lord Krishna sees it. There is a defect in my vision, Bhagavan. He admits his own problem. This is a tremendous sign. This is what makes Arjuna so adorable. This is what we all should try and do. Identify our own problem. Every doctor loves it when you go in and you can clearly say, I have this symptom, and I have this symptom, and I have this symptom. When did it start? It started at this time. Oh, really? Yes. What were you eating? I was eating this, and that was new. And you can identify this is what is going on. What is that karpanya dosha? What is the defect that I have? What is the dosha, evil, negativity, problem, obstacle that is there for me? Karpanya. So we'll see what that is. But whatever knowledge I have gained from the past, this karpanya dosha, this defect of karpanya, it has come in the way now. Nothing is coming handy for me anymore. Then Bhagavan, and then Arjuna adds, I will be your disciple. I surrender to you. You please teach me. What do you want me to teach? I want to know what is Shreya. I want to know what is good for me. Really, absolutely the right thing to do. I am confused about my dharma. And Bhagavan, you please tell me certainly exactly what is good for me. Because I'm willing and ready to do it, if you can explain. So this is Arjuna demonstrating in one verse how we also need to face sorrows in life. The most instructive verse. So a lot needs to be time, if not time, a lot of clarity has to be on what we can take from Arjuna here. First of all, diagnosing his own problem. And the problem that he puts into words is none other than our own problem. He acknowledges the limitations of his own intellect. Because Shastra, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Guru, is looking at the world and seeing one thing. And I'm looking with my intellect and all the knowledge I've gained, and I see something else. So my intellect has served me so far, and I got all the accolades and this, and that, and solved this other thing, answered that question. But here in this situation, my intellect is not going to work. So that is the first thing. Then, what's the next step we have to do? The next step is that we have to find someone who can guide us. Well, Arjuna already made that choice a long time ago, and he put Bhagavan Shri Krishna as his charioteer. And we also now should put Bhagavan Shri Krishna, well, should is a strong word. If we follow Arjuna, we would also be putting the message of Bhagavad Gita as our charioteer. Oh, Bhagavad Gita, you look at my life and you tell me to stand up and fight. I look up at my life and I don't want to get up in the morning. So what is it that you see about my life that I don't see? You see clearly and you can teach me. You have taught so many people before. So this sort of attitude, you find a source of guidance, and then what next has to be there? Not just having the source of guidance, right? But prapannam. Prapannam has to be there. That is also a tremendous thing. Surrender. Giving up. Surrender in simple words. I give up. I give up my own effort to try and figure things out on my own in this case. And a strong word is used, shishyasteham. I become your disciple. A disciple is someone who is ready to subject themselves to discipline, which is different than a student. No, a student who goes to university has to have studentship. Studentship is close to different than discipleship. That is why you find in ashrams, not only is there great studentship, but somewhere along the line, people become disciples. They subject themselves to the necessary disciplines that go along with the studentship so that they can gain the knowledge. So Arjuna says, look, I gone to that. I'm a shishya. You be my guru. Shadima, you teach me. So after identifying the person, surrendering our intellect to that person, that guru, that scripture, in that sampradaya, what happens next? Prichami tvam. Then you have to ask something. You can't just be there around. Arjuna was around Bhagavan Shri Krishna for how many years? Arjuna heard that Bhagavan showed his Vishwarupa in Hastinapur. He knew that in the forest with that golden patra, what magic he did so it could fill again with food to feed the Rishi. He knows the greatness of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, but he's not said, Prachami tvam, I'm going to ask you now something. Yachaya. What is really, really good for me? Nishchitam bruhimi. And you tell it to me clearly because I'm ready to act. So after meeting that person, surrendering our intellect to them, thus we can earnestly ask a question associated with a willingness to follow whatever the answer is. Now, this has to be, I have to put an asterisk there because Bhagavan already told Arjuna, stand up and fight. Already told them stand up and fight. So why you have to ask any question again? Because Arjuna's question is not, should I fight or not? His question is, dharma sammudha cheta. I am confused about what is dharma. I don't know what is good. This is his question. He knows how to fight. And for the next 17 chapters, Arjuna is not going to ask a single question about which arrow to use and what battle formation. That he knows all. Yat Shreya, what is really good in life's various options? How do I choose? What is dharma? That is what I want to know. So Bhagavan has to answer that question. This is what Arjuna says. So if you have to summarize all that in 2 statements, when we find having recognized we need wisdom, when we find a guru, we should surrender. Intellectually, surrender means what? It does not mean fanatic following. It means, look, my intellect cannot do it. Now I surrender my intellect to you so you can take it wherever it needs to go. And suppose the guru starts giving some explanation. But in my heart, I didn't surrender, or I'm not ready to follow. Then the guru will be putting effort to leave an imprint on that intellect, and the mind will be like water. It's not ready to take the imprint. It's all waste, correct? You can write on water. No. Nishchitam, I'm ready to follow. What you say, I'm listening. I'm here with it. If it makes sense, I will adopt it. There is a being who is willing and ready to absorb. As opposed to what? As opposed to, can I get your advice? What is your opinion? Can I get your take on the matter? Swamiji, what is your take on the current social economic happenings of the day? Because I also have an opinion, and I want to know if you. I want to know how many Swamijis agree with me and how many Swamijis don't agree with me. So, in that kind of person is not asking like Arjuna. In fact, it is often told you don't give advice. Period. Even if somebody asks, even if they ask earnestly, you don't give. Because where will you find someone who says, I will follow what you say if it makes sense to me? So that sort of attitude we should have in the Gita also. Oh, Gita, I'm opening my mind. If you say I should start running a mile every day, I'm open to it. If you can make it clear to me why. If you say I should stop running miles every day, then I will stop. Means I'm open to it because from where I stand, I can't solve this problem. So an openness is required. But it is going to be solved with question and answer. It is going to be solved by bringing Arjuna's intellect along as far as it can go on the path. And we'll take the last few moments now to reflect on. See, Arjuna has one more statement to make, which is also very essential in all of this. It explains his mind frame. But I think I'll leave everybody with this one question about surrender. When we find ourselves in times of trouble, whenever we face any problem in life, the scriptures and saints say the best thing a person can do is to surrender. The question is why? Why? As an example, Nachiketas in Kathopanishad, when he is told by his father, I give you to death, in anger, he said. You can see his response was, I wonder what work Yamraj is trying to do through me now. He surrendered. Okay, well, this is karma coming to me now. I wonder what work Yamraj has for me. That surrender or not? That is surrender. And that same Nachiketas came to be one of the greatest heroes of Sanatana Dharma. I mean, he's the epic hero. Arjuna is another one. Surrender. Surrender to life's situation such that I can grow. What other options you have? What other things we try? And what is the best thing to do when we face life's sorrow? So this is the thing to reflect on. Surrender. And we pick it up from here next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Satya Sanatana Dharma Ki Jai Har Har Nama Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadev. All right.